have to sort this out on my own. Without the council, and without you. This isn't about you. I can't stay here any longer. Not now. I have to sort this out on my own. Without the council, and without you. This isn't about you. I can't stay here any longer. Not now. I have to sort this out on my own. Without the council, and without you. This isn't about you. I can't stay here any longer. Not now. I have to sort this out on my own. Without the council, and without you. This isn't about you. have to sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you. This isn't about you. I can't stay here any longer. Not now. I have to sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you. This isn't about you.
Seen for generations, a Dyad in the Force.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 78. We are back from Star Wars Celebration. I had hoped that we would be able to go live during our time in Celebration, but it was very, very hectic. Everyone was really, really tired, and I think throughout the course of the weekend, we had all operated on 9 to 10 hours of sleep total.
Collectively.
Yeah, collectively. And we also had some like filming things to do with, the Podwans. And so I had all my equipment there. I had everything set up to do things from our Airbnb, but it was just way too tiring. There was way too much going on. And so this is our first Dyad in the Force back from Celebration. And yeah, Choco, what's going on?
Woo! Yeah, I'm all recovered. Mostly, it's fun. I had so much plans to make so much like celebration related content, and I just couldn't do it. The other thing was while we were there, I think as a group, like it may have been better, not better. That would have been vastly worse. But like if you had gone solo, then you could just like focus on making content. We were all just vibing and enjoying each other's company so much that the thought of pulling out your phone just didn't come up. At least for me, it didn't come up very often at all.
Yeah, there were times where I would take out my phone, and I would assume content creation mode, and involve a couple of people here and there, but largely, yeah, it was just a vibe fest, and we were just enjoying each other's company. Huge shout out to Jordy Jedi Connor for being a member of Dyad Squadron for 12 months. That is a year. Also celebrating his 17th birthday. Happy birthday to Connor, Jordy Jedi. We hope to see you in London next year.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. We are joined by StPat, formerly of Starfleet, currently of Separatist Rebel, and Beth, marajskywalker. Pat, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone in the chat?
Hi, I'm Pat, StPat, whatever you want to call me. I do mostly TikTok videos, cosplay, mostly on Star Wars, which is why I changed it from Starfleet, get away from the Star Trek type of era. And I'm also trying to get on Twitter now, so that's been fun trying to break into.
Yeah.
It's a bold move. It's a bold move. It's a hellscape out there.
And Beth.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me, first of all.
Absolutely.
Always welcome.
You guys are the best. I'm Beth. You can find me at mar.j.skywalker on TikTok. And I also have recently entered the Twitter sphere, if you will, at Mara_J_Skywalker. So, shaking it up a little bit.
Underscore gang.
Underscore, yes.
You say Twitter sphere, I say hellscape. But welcome, nonetheless.
Thank you. It's definitely an interesting, it's a different crowd than on TikTok.
Yeah. I feel like it's gotten way better since everyone has been largely empowered to kind of voice their opinion. I think like maybe last year, every time there was something negative about the sequels, it was just a dog pile of grifters and stuff. And now there's so many people just being like, man, why don't you shut up? It's just a lot of people just like, enough is enough. Shout out to Cal for a member of the Dyad Squadron for 11 months, approaching a year as well. Feels like it's been longer than 7 months. You know what? It feels like it's been less than. Time has flown. For the most part here.
Feels like both.
I lost a year somewhere in between everything. Yeah, I was talking with family. I'm like about an event. I'm like, oh no, it's almost been a year for that event. No, it's been 2. It's almost 2. I'm like, oh. Okay.
I'm always concerned when someone tells me they've lost a year. I'm like, are you okay? Is there like entire relationships you've forgotten? But our first topic, of course, for the day is our celebration aftermath or our post-con blues. How are you guys feeling? We'll start with Beth.
Oh man, I think it as I was saying, it just hit me, I think today, that as I was like looking through my camera roll, I was like, oh yeah, that happened a week ago, and now I think finally starting to come down from it, and I'm obviously, very sad, very much missing everybody. And, while I'm looking forward to next year, I think it's hard to kind of just like get over it very quickly because it's, you're in such a dynamic environment with people who just really understand you and who are so passionate about the same things you are. And then cutting back to real life is very difficult.
That's an interesting way to put it because in a sense, last week was still real life, right? I mean, we were all, for the most part, meeting each other for the first time in reality, in person, and it feels weird to like describe going back to this as coming back to real life, but that is just the reality, and it makes me sad in to a certain degree, but it is just the beginning as we look forward to London and all kinds of things, because we've effectually made real life friends. We've made new bonds. And so the barrier you cross to meeting people in real life has been, has crumbled. So even if it's outside of celebration, it's very possible that people start hanging out with each other, visiting each other, just in the neutral. I say in the neutral. That's fighting game speak, but in the neutral where like there's no events, you just visit people. I can see myself going over to even though I hesitate to say this, visiting Alabama and visiting.
You hesitate to say it.
Yeah, and visiting Cal or going to Chicago, visiting Eggy. Just. We've made so many real life friends that I feel like we can now exist around each other outside of events and special events.
Yeah, no, like I mean, and then to keep the fighting game terminology going, yeah, people can come out to California where we would be at advantage, or we could
Frame advantage.
yeah, no, it's. I actually do think though we might be planning a group Disney thing. What do you think? Because we do have someone coming from Florida who's planning to come out sometime. We might make a thing of it for anyone who wants to join us. So.
Yeah. So if you guys aren't aware, we did not go to Disneyland with everyone, and the reason being is that we both have not been to Galaxy's Edge, and we figured we would make a trip of that since we do live in state, and it's not really. We understood that everybody that was flying across country would want to make a trip of it and go to Disneyland. But we wanted to make a separate trip of it. So, yeah, as Choco says, if you want to make a trip of us on our first time at Galaxy's Edge, for sure, you are more than welcome to. Pat, how are you doing back home?
I don't know what to do with myself after celebration. It was like I liken it to like that first week of the pandemic, like where everything just stops, and it's you don't know what to do. And I think it's just because I just started working, but now and then celebration ended, marked the end of my first academic year of subbing. Ooh. And so there's nothing for summer except for some summer classes, which are all online. And so like I'm not working, I'm not actively being out all day, going places, meeting with people, and so it's like, what do I do with myself? Yeah. I know there are things I can do, but what do I do?
That sentence largely reminds me of an old bit by DC, who is like talking about a person in the drive-through lane, and then the person ordered, and they were like, "Where do I go?" They're like, "On the one road you're on." But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a adjustment period for us, especially me, who has not seen contact with anyone for a long time. I'm pretty sure everyone has just been yearning for that physical contact and that intimacy, and you know that whole celebration was just a huge kind of nuclear bomb of intimacy, and then it's over, everyone goes home, and you're back to staring at your screen like we are right now. And this all goes towards, these sentiments all goes towards our goals of for Dyad Studios, where we have a set, a round table, some mics going around the table, and we'll have people in person be guests.
I still think you should call it the Dyad Outpost. Keep the Star Wars analogy going.
We could, I mean, but the actual place is going to be a studio.
Well, yeah. I'm saying the name.
No, I love it, but I also want the ability to like get other revenue by loaning it out to other people.
Yeah, gotta stay hustling.
Yeah, it sounds like a private equity firm. We're here for that.
Well, we'll get you for legal.
I'll help you with all your compliance issues. I got you guys.
Shout out to Darth Choco.
But you're not allowed to just play the Chewbacca defense.
What is the Chewbacca defense?
South Park. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the purpose of it. It's just a big old Wookiee-sized straw man.
Great episode. Brought it back.
Darren Calvin joined Squadron 7.
Hey!
Shout out to Darren Calvin. Also, shout out to Choco and Dave, Xanatos 1138. Choco being a Dyad Squadron member for 11 months, and Dave for being a member for 10 months. Welcome, and StPat, who has been a member for 12 months as well. Love this community and everyone here. Celebration was another level. Nerd highlight, David says. Welcome to Dyad Squadron, Darren Calvin. And if you aren't familiar with being in the Dyad Squadron, you pick your ship that you want to pilot. And I'll give you guys a preview right now of the new Dyad Squadron.
Oh, that being said, I actually think I want to change my ship, but
yeah,
but
you can.
We can trust that.
I'm pretty sure everyone can still hear us, but yeah, this is the new Dyad Squadron. All of the ships here. You can pick a ship that is currently not on there, but in the interest of saving space, we encourage you to pick a ship that's already up there. But you can for sure pick a ship that is not currently up there. So Darren, whenever you're ready, send a message over to us in the chat or over in any of the normal social channels with your ship, and we'll get you right on there at once.
Lately I've become a big fan of the Tri-Wing S91 Pegasus, most notably seen in Star Wars Resistance. That's what what's her face? It's what the girl flies. But we
what
see
girl? There's more than one girl. Tora?
You're talking.
Tora. It's what Tora flies.
Ah, okay.
Hers just has the unique paint job. But we also saw one briefly in the opening scene here of Obi-Wan. That's one of the ships that Leia calls out.
Oh, that's right.
When I saw that ship, I had that meme, the plane meme of
Look, boss, the plane.
Speaking of which, that's a trivia question. What ship does Baby Leia spot that is likely scouting for pirates?
Well, let me jot this down right quick.
Do you guys know?
Oh, I don't remember the name of the ship. I know.
It was an Aquilian Ranger.
I knew it was some type of ranger.
Yeah. No, ever since the Podwan, shout out to Podwan's podcast. Ever since that tournament, I have been every moment in every show is like trivia moment, and I remember it.
Oh no! Did Luke create a monster?
Yes. No, actually, Luke kind of like spurred me on, but Demolanta created the monster.
Luke fed the monster. Yeah, like I said before, I currently have 56 pages of trivia questions.
Yeah. And I myself have compiled a pageless document that I call the Star Wars Bible, of all of the media that I've consumed, with all of the information that is likely to be trivia, which is going to help us in our future Battle of the Dyads trivia tournament that we are going to have ourselves. Beth, who I'm assuming is going to participate with her Open Circle Fleet partner, Camilla. I'm hoping.
You know it. We'll be there.
Awesome. I'm hoping everyone participates. It's going to be a great, fun, team-based trivia competition. I think it's easier for people to kind of like bounce ideas off of each other during a question, and you guys will be able to work together on that. It's not exclusive to Dyads, but it is the Battle of the Dyads, so you do need a partner at the very least. Did you guys see there's already Lola toys for pre-order? Of course there are. And I've pre-ordered one.
New favorite droid. Let's say that every droid that Star Wars comes out is a new favorite droid.
Yeah. And for Filipinos, it is the word for grandmother.
Oh.
So we call our grandmothers Lolas. And I'm just gonna have a droid Lola. That's fine. I need the BD1 Lego set too.
Yeah, the BD1 Lego set looks awesome. I do want myself one of those. You know what droid doesn't get the love they deserve, though?
Leaky.
That's a deep cut right there.
Well, I can't even say anything anymore.
Just for context, Beth, Leaky was in our Voyage of Destruction, High Republic D&D one shot that we did with Malik.
Oh, okay. I was like, I know there's a joke here, and I will laugh along, but thank you for the context.
I may or may not have thrown this droid off of the railing a story, but I was trying to spread oil. Anyways, yeah.
What were you saying? Go on.
The ID-10, which I think was named Dio. But Iden Versio's droid, that was originally created by Del Mico. That droid is really cool. A flying little droid, lands on your back and does stuff, stuns things. I feel like that's almost a superior design because it just floats, you know?
I think as soon as they do a live action visual depiction of it, it'll get its love for sure.
Totally.
Anything Disney can sell. Yeah.
There's not a lot of love for 88. But no one loves him. That guy doesn't deserve love. The droid Invader Immortal, she needs more love. I need to play that. You know what? That's one of the things that for sure is in my future, is an Oculus Quest, and I will record my gameplay footage of Vader Immortal. So the second part of this topic is, of course, what are your more favorite things that you took away from Celebration, other than, of course, I'm going to assume this for all of you guys so you don't have to all answer this, meeting everyone. What was the best thing you saw from Celebration? We'll start with Choco this time.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, the panels are the thing I love about cons the most. I mean, I always kind of have the same pattern for most of them, is whatever panels look good, go see them. But, like, you know, Saturdays are for walking around checking out cosplay a lot of the times, and then just the feel of true cons being back. You know, I've been through a lot of cons. I even worked, Comic-Con. We had like a mini comic, like it wasn't the same this year, and they threw it in November rather than in the summertime. Cons being back, us sitting there watching Dave Filoni give us these little amazing nuggets, and then watching the Tales of the Jedi first episode and the trailer was just so hype. But just little throwaway lines that he says about how he appreciates Qui-Gon. It was just really interesting. Going through the source, this is the best.
Absolutely. Pat?
I'm just gonna have to agree with Choco that Tales of the Jedi was my absolute favorite panel and thing I got from Celebration. If you don't know, I'm a huge Qui-Gon stan. Every voice chat, I'm always saying I need more Qui-Gon content. Give me Qui-Gon content. And
why are you Separatist Rebel?
Because the Separatists were misunderstood because of and I like Lena Bonteri, and they need love because most of them were like Lena Bonteri. It's only the corporate machines that
we all love Lena Bonteri.
So that's why. Plus,
not so much Lex, but Mina.
Yeah. Plus, Andor was a separatist, so separatist rebel.
That's true. Okay.
So basically, when Anakin looks at Padme and says, "You're beginning to sound like a separatist," you're like, "Thank you."
Exactly. Yeah. No. But yeah. So that's why. But Qui-Gon is my absolute favorite Jedi. Probably my absolute favorite character in all Star Wars. And just to get more Qui-Gon content, which he deserves, just made me so happy. I was next to Aiden when they showed young Qui-Gon. Actually, when they showed young Dooku, I knew what was coming, and I apologized to Aiden because I screamed my head off.
Same question to the chat, guys. What if anyone in the chat went to Celebration? What was your favorite takeaway from Celebration, other than, as I said, other than meeting everyone, because that's everyone's highlights. David just says panels and meet and greets, but I would like you to be a little bit more specific than that, David. Beth, what about you?
You guys can probably guess mine. I would have to say
Because of Obi-Wan.
because of Obi-Wan. definitely the Obi-Wan premiere. I was very, very fortunate. My friend Josh, shout out to Josh if you're in the chat, came through and we were in the room like with the cast to see it, and it was like a religious experience. There were tears, just the collective energy in the crowd was amazing. And it's like, you're chatting to people who are sitting next to you who you just don't know, but you're just so excited. And it was just such an amazing experience to like bond over this one thing that we were all extremely excited about. And thus far, the show has yet to disappoint. I mean, not like it ever would because it's Ewan McGregor, but it was such a cool moment. And I loved, like, at the end, they introduced the cast and they introduced like Vivian last. And it was so, I'm sure you guys have seen like the videos, but it was so cute because like, Hayden was hugging her and Ewan gave her a hug. And I was like, oh God. It was just the most precious thing. It was such a cool experience.
It's so meta to see Hayden hugging baby Leia.
It's as close to like we're ever gonna get with like Anakin and his kids, which made me very sad.
Yeah. I think for me, all of the panels were absolutely terrific. We had the Bad Batch panel where we confirmed Gunji survived. We had the Tales of the Jedi with, I don't know if I should spoil it, so we saw more than they showed on the live stream, and just the implications of all of those shorts is incredible. But I think the number one panel for me had to have been the High Republic panel, which Choco was unfortunately unable to see because he was being a rock star and on this podcast stage. It was just so phenomenal to see just how many people were there. During Celebration, where you have countless other panels going on and people choosing to be in the High Republic panel, and a whole stage room filled with people, kind of like that, the affirmation that it is one of the best Star Wars things to have come out in recent memory. And this in the face of so much negativity and so much toxicity online about it, with people bad mouthing it, largely from people who haven't read a single book but are just being reactionary to things in it. Same thing happened with Queen's Hope, which was weird. It was just like, oh my gosh, there is neo pronouns, it's woke. But what about the story? I really need to encourage a lot of people to just read the stories. Don't be so reactionary to just things that have nothing to do with the story.
But I do have to agree, that was really cool, because there's like you said, there's all this online thing of oh, it's failing and no one likes it, and you're like, bro, they keep having to reprint all the books because they sell out. And that doesn't even include all the digital and audio versions of it. People like it. and we're gonna get more of it.
Yeah, a lot more. And there's a lot, like during the publishing panel also we confirmed that so many more authors are joining as well. And so, you know, some of these authors on this one,
Look how beautiful this is.
some of these authors on this are going to be writing High Republic stuff. So there is a story by Sam Meggs and Tessa Gratton and Delilah Dawson, who I do believe have some High Republic stories coming out. But
Tessa Gratton, I'm really excited for because they've been talking about how special Tessa Gratton was writing her book with Justina Ireland. And they keep talking about how special that book is to all of them internally. So I'm super excited to read that.
absolutely.
When I bought Brotherhood at Celebration for the Mike Chen signing, I got a free copy of Light of the Jedi, and so I sent it off to my cousin, which because he's a huge Star Wars fan. He's part of the reason why I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I sent him off this book with a note and saying this is one of my new favorite eras. I think you would like this. Give this a read if you have a time.
Awesome. Also, shout out to Camilla in the chat, the other half of Open Circle Fleet. High Republic supremacy. Those authors deserve all the live. All the live.
Hello, Camilla.
And then
For light and live.
and then she said love, of course, correcting herself. But shout out to Camilla, the Beth's partner for Open Circle Fleet, and Ven Skywalker. Welcome back. So does anybody else have any other like final thoughts on Celebration? You guys, who's going to London?
I'm gonna try to swing it. Just I don't know what's gonna go on with that because it's right after spring break, and I might be student teaching. So it all depends on that.
There is no try.
Don't. Oh, you gonna go Yoda on me, Pep?
Yes. I'm always Yoda.
You're beginning to sound like a separatist.
Beth, you going?
Oh man, I would love to try. That would also be my first time ever traveling internationally, and also potentially the longest vacation I've ever taken.
Ooh.
So hopefully, fingers crossed. I would love to. So we'll see. We'll see. I would love to though.
Totally. There's there's a rumor going around that it's going to be celebrating the Return of the Jedi, which is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and if I'm not there, I will be so sad.
Man, can you think about like a Return of the Jedi panel? Ooh.
Oh.
Also, has there been any announcement about from a certain point of view Return of the Jedi? Because I need it. I need it so bad.
There has not been.
I do too. I want it to go badly.
I was hoping they were going to announce it at the any of the publishing ones that they had the panels, but there were no announcements. Which is sad, but I'm sure it's coming. They literally can't do a FACPOV with A New Hope and Empire and just stop. And then do like a FACPOV from like Force Awakens. Like they have to do it for every single movie, because every single movie has background characters and stories that exist, you know.
Well, actually, I do kind of hope they slow down a little bit, and it's for entirely selfish reasons. I want to try and like publish like 2 books myself, and then get notice, and then I'll write one for free for one of them, and then and then they'll bring me on as a consultant for the Old Republic. Mark my words, I think we're doing Old Republic after the High Republic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been rereading Dooku Jedi Lost, and there's some nuggets in there that are taking me back. Also in Shadow of the Sith, I think we're gonna go back there. I mean, Serena was once ruled by the Sith. How dope is that?
Yeah.
I just ordered that book this weekend.
And phase two art, even though it was DJO's, coffee table art. It was, or napkin art. It was one of the people that he drew was wearing the robes of Sorcerers of Tund, and we're heading back in time with Phase 2, and I think the further back we go in time, the more references we're going to get to the Old Republic, and we're gonna get there eventually. I'm definitely trying to get noticed so I can do a FAQ-POV on Yoda, and just maybe one of his, maybe when he was like 75 or for 80, and he was like giving somebody like a Mandalorian some lip, and it's just like this, like the past, the future mirrors the past, and I would like to see how much alike he looks to Grogu, because Grogu, within the next 20 years is going to be around the age Yoda became a master at 100, so Grogu is within 50 years of being a toddler and a freaking Jedi Master. So I would love to do that story for sure. What was?
Can we just do like a fan, like a group, a fandom group where we just all write from a certain point of view story and just make an anthology?
I think we should.
That is a great idea. That would be like FM FAQ-POV fan made. That, yeah, I think that would be terrific. Actually, we would like compile. Well, we would have to choose what movie are we doing a FAQ-POV from? Are we doing TFA? Like, are we doing the sequel era? Are we filling in the gap of Return of the Jedi because they haven't announced it yet? Or do we do a High Republic FAQ-POV?
I think we should do a High Republic.
I think, well, there are so many different, like, people who have different strengths in the I think, like, it could be divided into, like, chapters of, like, different eras. Maybe?
You could, yeah. Just in general, Star Wars point of view?
Yeah. Any point of view.
All right, well, you already know mine.
I have this whole...
Also,
I'm gonna work out a whole bunch of stuff, but no, consider this happening. I have some ideas.
You already know what mine's gonna be, of course. So why don't we go around the table and ask what would be your ideal FAQ-POV story? And we'll start with Beth, since that's your idea.
oh man, I think there's so many characters now in the Obi-Wan show who I think would be fascinating to explore, and just have them be like this sad man and this child. What is going on here? So I think would be very fun to write. Like, very fun.
Camilla, Star Wars from a fan's point of view. FAQ-POV. Actually, that's really cool that you mention it, because then that also gives me an idea about a FAQ-POV of that clone trooper that asked Obi-Wan for some handouts, panhandling.
That'd be fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pat, what's your point of view?
I want to do a Clone Club bartender POV.
Are you doing the 70 is it 79s?
70, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Do a story on a bartender at 79s. Is everyone a clone? Is the bartender a clone?
I don't know, because I know the waitresses are Twi'leks.
That's true. I think it is just like a bar for clones, but it's a regular bar. That'll be interesting, for sure.
That'd be difficult to like not get the tabs mixed up, because you're like, oh, the one that looks like looks like everyone else.
All y'all looking like
it's the clones. It's drunk clones dodging tabs.
Yeah.
Do you want to close your tab? Yeah. Or do you want to keep your tab open? He looks at the ID.
No, so the bartender just every like 30 minutes just averages everyone. I'm like, all right. The collective bill is here. There's 30 of y'all in here. just split it up and pay, please.
Also, Pat, we need to know, because obviously, like as we hear in the Clone Wars movie, Rex jokes that he's 10, but he looks old for his age. It's like, what's the legal? I'm just saying, is the legal drinking age for clones? How do they judge that?
I think it would follow California law. If you look under 40, we card you. But I don't know, how old do they look during the Clone Wars?
I feel like if you are old enough to be sent to war, you should be allowed
Serving drinks to 14-year-old Padawans. Okay, Choco, we see how it is.
I like to imagine that when the club first opened, the Coruscant guard was around and checking people, and then they just gave up.
Pretty much, because some clones will look like other clones, but some clones will be older. You know, you would have someone that kind of sort of looks like 5 years younger than Rex, but it's actually 4 years old. It's so weird to think about.
Yeah, like maybe it's none for shinies, but if you've seen action, if you're a clone that's seen action, maybe that should be what it is.
Must have at least 3 blaster bolt dents on your armor.
Feel free to participate in chat in this question as well, chat. Camilla, especially, Darren, Cal. If you guys have any ideas for your FAF-POV, let us know in the chat. Choco, what is your point of view?
Oh man,
you don't have to spoil it if you have something special cooking up, but definitely let us know if you have any other ideas that you want to explore.
Well, I mean, I had too many of them come to mind. That was actually my problem. I mean, my first thought was just in Return of the Jedi, because that's what we're anticipating. I really wanted the story about Luke building his lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of get that deleted scene, but I need that story of him finding that crystal and, you know, all that good stuff. If he did take Qui-Gon's, or if his is a modified version of Gathering, I would love that. Also, I hate this character, but Bib Fortuna is ripe for a great story.
No. Don't do that.
Bib Fortuna and his fortunate ways.
Yeah, I'm just saying we need, you know, if we're taking it back here to the Obi-Wan show, what's his Obi-Wan's daughter, the drug dealer?
Oh,
yeah, that's who I was thinking of. I'm like, that'd be really good.
I used to be someone's daughter.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, there's too many. Also, I need a backstory on the Santecas, but we'll probably be getting that. So, those are 3 that I'm just gonna toss out there.
I have one more. I'll do a FAF-POV on Claude.
Yeah.
David
going to engineering school.
David says old Rex on Endor. You know what? That's a great idea, because like that you could also do you could play with Nick Sant as well. You could have like a Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, I want him to run into Nick. Listen, here's what I want Nick Sant just to be a different clone that survived all that time.
Yeah, it could be.
And you're like, why do you guys look alike? We're clones.
Yeah, wasn't there? Oh no, never mind. It was Amnesia. I was thinking of the D Squad episode where was that Gregor? Yeah, Gregor. Maybe, you know, going off of that, at least that premise before he gets his memory back, maybe there is a clone that got lost and just doesn't have any memories of being a soldier and is just living a life. And that was Nick Sant. And then he joined the rebellion and fought in the war. And then he looks at Rex on Endor. He's like, what the hell's going on? He's like, well, you're a clone. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm my own person.
And my name is Nick Sant. Now, what if Nick Sant turns out to be like a pseudonym from Cut LaQuaine, just in the future? Like he went through some like dark times and is just mad.
Yeah, the Empire ruined his life on Seleucami, and That could be the case too. Let's see. We have Cal who says, I want to write the day Dexter Jetster has Obi-Wan come in, writing more on the nuance of how he keeps a smile on his face after all that he has seen. Masked smile until he sees Obi-Wan, with flashes to how he knows about Camino.
I mean, one of the reasons he keeps a smile on his face is he eats a copious amount of cake every single night.
Yes. I've always found it funny when that's how Obi-Wan that's how Obi-Wan like bribes him. Cake.
He gives him back some of his own cake. Obi-Wan. I love him.
David says Bib Fortunate, or is that a typo? Because that's an awesome title for a story, Bib Fortunate, about Bib Fortuna. Dewanawanga.
Salacious Crumb's big day.
Yes.
And that's the sail barge day told from Salacious Crumb's eyes.
And that's the story you learn what B stands for. Because we don't know. Darren Calvin says,
I mean, it's for shoelaces, but...
Darren Calvin says, mostly because it's hinted at in Queen's Peril, so it's fresh in my mind. I need a story of when Satine and Obi-Wan met while he was still a Padawan. Yeah, a lot of people want the story of the year on the run, but for sure that would be a great story of just like, you know, kind of like a teenage, like high school, just like eyeing each other from across the hall, and just like, she's pretty. And Qui-Gon's like, stop it, Obi-Wan. You know? Well, these are all really great ideas.
Qui-Gon is having like that dilemma of like the farmer, the fox, the chicken, and the corn, where he's like, I have to go over here, but I can't leave Obi-Wan with her.
These are all great ideas. I'm assuming, Choco, that you are now in the process, at least within your mind, of producing said project.
Yes, taking something and yes.
All right. Look forward to that. From a fan's point of view. And of course, this is just going to be a compendium of everyone's headcanons, but you know, we can't stop that. I gave Beth another idea.
Yeah. Okay, now I know what I'm gonna write. Okay, but we won't go there.
Yeah,
of course it's sad. Of course it's sad.
This is gonna be the best thing, and then, yeah.
We gotta leave a little bit room for surprise. You know, can't let everything out of the bag.
Well, what's not a surprise is that Beth will make us cry.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll do my best.
There will be sad Obi-Wan quotes interspersed there as like.
It's not a good day if we don't have a good tear from Beth.
Okay, that almost sounded weird. It's not a good day unless you cry, and I'm just like, hold on. But yes. Okay, so let's move on to the last subject, or the last topic of the show, Obi-Wan Episode 3. Now, Beth, we were honored to have you on for our live watch along, and we will be doing more of those for the remainder of the show and for the future shows that are coming out on Disney Plus. So if you guys are interested, please reach out to us. We are looking to have at least 2 others join us for our watch alongs, correct, Choco? And right.
Yes.
And we are gonna do this every week for all of those shows, depending on if it's a Wednesday or Friday. Either way, Beth was on, and it was a crazy episode. Lots happened, and of course, before I throw it off to Pat, since we haven't heard your thoughts on this, Quinlan Voss. Yeah, the bingo card has been filled, and I feel like he's gonna save Leia. Kenobi's recovering. But Pat, how did you feel about episode 3 of Kenobi?
I left my body. Just so much happened, and when they faked me out, because I have subtitles on when I watch things, and so when they're doing the he's meditating and he's reflecting, and they have the snippets of voice. I read Qui-Gon on this thing, but it was just an old audio. For a second, I got really hyped, but then I realized it's just an old clip that they were using. But no, I'm loving Hayden as Vader. He did such a great job. He looks amazing. I just love Deborah Chow as a director.
Yeah. Were you scared of Vader in this episode?
I was so scared of Vader. Like, through the original trilogy, and even in the Rogue One cameo, I was never scared of Vader. The moment I got scared of Vader was he just was walking down that street and I saw a body start to drag. I'm like, oh, okay. I do not want that guy coming after me.
I remember articles leading up to the premiere of Obi-Wan saying or complaining that it had a rating less than Book of Boba Fett. And so people were speculating, oh no, this isn't going to be as dark as they are promising. Then Vader breaks the neck of a child, goes through the street, just kind of like not being aggressive enough to some people, which is weird to me. Yeah, there were some rumblings.
See, Vader
be more aggressive than just killing random people. Like they aren't even. It's not even like in Rogue One where they're rebels. He's literally just like taking down civilians.
For me, Vader's fear doesn't. The fear of Vader doesn't come when he's like hacking his lightsaber, because that's me. That's whiny Anakin. That's not a Sith Lord. It's when he's present and he's powerful just from little things he does.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, that was dark. It's a dark sequence.
Yeah, I mean, he's still the learner at this point in time, and I think Vader is going to let things fall through the cracks because he's still being Anakin under there, and he hasn't fully embraced his newest persona.
Yeah. It says, Vader is the reason I'll tell my nieces and nephews the boogeyman is real. For the longest time, Vader was the boogeyman. Back in the day, which was a Wednesday. The silhouette of Vader for children was largely terrifying. But I don't know if you were able to kind of like process your feelings and thoughts, Beth. But what can you offer on episode 3 that is new and we haven't had a chance to discuss from our watch along?
Oh man. So I'll try not to like harp too much on this as far as like
harp away.
It just, the way that Vader knew exactly what to do and say to like torture Obi-Wan the whole time, as far as like he wasn't killing people to try and draw him out. Like he knew that wasn't going to draw him out. He was just doing it just to like basically screw with him. And as far as saying the I am what you made me, that's literally the worst thing you could potentially say to Obi-Wan. Like the worst thing. And I did like a whole video on it, so I won't like go into the different ways, but he knew exactly he clearly had plotted his revenge, thought about it. But he took Obi-Wan down on like every single psychological, obviously physical, and just mental level that you could. And it was like very reminiscent of like moments from the Zygeria arc, where it's like, you know, people were getting hurt just because Obi-Wan exists and he can't do anything because he knows it's just gonna get worse. But God, it was just, again, not like I like seeing him being like tortured, but it was just such good character development between the two. And it was really cool too how you could hear, at least I've rewatched it multiple times, but you could hear like Hayden's delivery of the lines with James Earl Jones' voice. So it was just really cool to see, like, it was just a cool transition to see like kind of the melding of all the different characters. I'm obsessed. It was just hands down, I think probably now one of my favorite pieces of like Star Wars media. Just that single episode.
And I have got to say, out of all the Inquisitors, Riva, she scares me the most. Like I could look the Grand Inquisitor in the eye, but I would run if she came at me with her lightsaber, because she has that presence about her when she has something on her mind, you know?
She has proven that, decorum and process is just not her style. And, she cut someone's hand off. She's proven to be unpredictable, and I understand if you are scared of her. Choco, what were you going to say?
I saw some people, take issue because when you see the credits, you see that James Earl Jones' voice, he's credited, but his voice was using the technology where you're recreating it. But like you said, it sounded like it was Hayden speaking those lines with that voice coming out. And so while I'm not a fan of the concept of speaking and using someone else's voice, I think gets us into some weird legal territory. We can talk about that, Beth, later. But
Yeah.
But this is the perfect use case for that technology. It was absolutely perfect to use it, here in this scenario. And for me, the fight scene just worked. I do have some friends and family that were expecting more of a choreographed prequel style fight, but I like the fights to have the narrative, the story, the character, to tell the story rather than be an action interlude in between story bits. And since we're watching Obi-Wan as in A New Hope, we see Obi-Wan as this confident, strong Jedi Knight who is guiding Luke, but it wouldn't make sense if that guy just lost his Padawan, lost the Jedi Order, lost everything he's ever known, and then had to live in the desert for 10 years. Like that transition doesn't make sense without the show. And seeing this episode and how they fought, how they interacted, was like the events of the atrophying of that faith, and we know that your usage of the Force largely depends on your faith and belief in it, and that really affects your ability to listen and truly accept what's happening and let it flow through you, and so the fight had to go exactly the way it did in order for us to see Obi-Wan at his lowest point, for us to have him grow into that character from here. And I just appreciated that.
Absolutely. I feel like, well, first of all, that wasn't their last hurrah together. I think there's going to be an awakening. There's been an awakening with Obi-Wan, and I think that they're going to have a final confrontation, and I think you already won that bet. We did have an initial bet where I said that their confrontation was largely going to be spiritual in nature, and just with that sequence alone, it ruins my.
Yeah, it do.
But we did get additional lore in this episode as well with the Path, which is a system of safe houses across the galaxy that was meant to help Force sensitives and Jedi survivors survive and escape the Empire. And we see a whole bunch of names written in Norabesh on the wall, one of which was Quinlan Voss. Another, for any fans of Legends, another was Valen Horn, who is the father of Corran Horn, and I believe, as I found out just recently from Choco, that one of the children in episode 2 was credited as Corran. So canon, maybe, perhaps, but this whole like Underground Railroad system thing is fascinating because now we are in this kind of this era in Star Wars storytelling where it's about the survivors now. We're getting Jedi Survivor. We don't know who's in the back to tank, but I have a feeling Quinlan Vos is going to have a huge role in Jedi Survivor. And we have the Bad Batch Season 2 with Gunji surviving. We're going to get a lot of stories now, I think, in the next couple of years of just people who survived and what they've been doing, what they've been up to. No, Mace is dead. But there as
trivia question. Is Mace Windu dead?
When
as
we when we were at the Attack of the Clones panel and Tamora Morrison was saying, I think Mace is up there on Boba's list. I'm like, you're gonna feed into those people.
I mean, he's gonna do what he needs to do, or not needs to, but wants to do. He knows from at least his perspective, Boba Fett does have a vendetta with Mace. But I guarantee you, the conversation he has with Dave Filoni is Mace is dead. But you know, according to Kanan, according to Brotherhood, the Jedi were 10,000 strong before Order 66. There's no possible way that Order would have killed all 10,000 of them. So there's a large chunk of survivors that I think that there are a lot of stories to tell, including Gunji, including Cal, including Quinlan Vos.
Well, we also have people like, Eth Koth, who they found, but he just became a priest somewhere, and that there were Jedi out there on far-flung worlds. Like, I think there's a weird misconception where people believe it was like a 9-to-5 job where you clock in at the Jedi Temple and you're there all day. Like, no, these people were on missions in the Outer Rim and doing stuff. Some people, I actually want a canonized version of Outbound Flight of that project. And sending Jedi out to explore something somewhere, I think that might be dope.
Yeah, and our first kind of example of this was, of course, Kirak and Phila, who was on a Barish vow, and I'm pretty sure there was more than one Barish taker in the Jedi Order, which I want a story on Plo Koon in Phase 2 of the High Republic being the first, because in the High Republic panel, they did say one of their stories was going to tell us the origin of the Barish vow, and I'm like, yes. We haven't seen Plo Koon yet, and if they're going to canonize his long-lived species status, Plo Koon was the first one to take the Barish vow, and then he returns in the prequel era as we see him. So I'm hoping we get a Plo Koon in Phase 2 as the first one. Also,
I hate to be that guy, but on the stage he kept saying Barash, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like how that feels. So I'm cool to keep saying Barish, but he did say Barash.
Yeah, I'm cool with sticking to Barish. Hey, if you can stay...
Are you also saying Marchion, or...
No, but that's what I was about to say, too. If you can be on stage on the same panel as Charles Soule and say Marchion, then it's okay. It's okay.
That's true. There are no rules. It's all just random.
So what do you guys think, Pat, about... we'll start with you, about the path and this whole kind of system, this network for survivors, and do you think there's any stories there for anyone you think may have survived?
I love it. I would kill for a Quinlan-centered story, whether it's live action, book, comic, about him with a bunch of younglings that either found him or he found after the purge, and it's all about a chase from an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
I think that would be, and I'm like, not necessarily Jedi younglings, but just Force-sensitive children he's found along the way, or found their way.
Yeah, I this whole quote from the show. Yeah, he helps now and again, smuggling younglings, and I can't get it out of my head that he smuggled Grogu. He smuggled a whole bunch of younglings. Yeah. Beth, what about you in this whole kind of like Jedi survivor system?
Oh, it opens that era to so many additional stories. But I too would love if Quinn were the center of them, because it's such a shame because Dark Disciple is so incredible, but I feel like not a lot of people people have read it, but kind of as far as like the general public isn't really aware of that aspect of, Quinlan's character, if they're aware of him at all. And he's so integral in so many ways to like, who the Jedi are, how they changed his friendships with the different, obviously with the different Jedi, his relationship with Ventress, like I would love to see him as the center. I think that would be absolutely fascinating. But it's such a cool concept that's nothing I could have anticipated coming out of this show. And it was such a cool surprise to see.
Do you think
you have just inspired me to make my next TikTok talk about how, as someone that reads a lot of canon, nothing's more devastating than having people constantly ask if I think Asajj Ventress is going to show up places.
I also kind of like the effect that the path can have on the lore for the rebellion era with people not knowing about the Force. Because if there's a secret underworld railroad, of course people are gonna hide and as much of the knowledge of the Force as possible, and so you just don't get it from the Empire's propaganda side. You get everyday people trying to.
Yeah. Speaking
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, speaking to Choco, with Ventress, you run into people who legitimately didn't know, and will hold it over your head for a year now for spoiling that story. Just one day in my life, I was like, oh yeah, spoiler alert. But I didn't say spoiler alert. I was like, oh yeah, Ventress is dead, and they were like, I haven't read that story yet, thanks. And now, like, every once in a while they show up in the live and they're like, don't spoil things, Element. And I'm like, God.
One of the other implications of the paths, I think, is that could also be what the rebellion used in order to get started, in order to get agents into different locations and just spread the. So I think that would be really cool if it turns out that the destruction of the Jedi, what they created out of it, ends up being what aids in the rise of the rebellion and therefore the destruction of the Empire.
Yeah, the path of the Jedi. Am I okay? No, the Jedi path.
Yeah.
Do you think Ram Koda is canon, and they saw that and they're like, no, we need to be a little bit more discreet.
Ram Koda is in the tank for Cal Kestis.
I mean, the hair is kind of matching. Yeah.
Star Wars lawyer says the Jedi Underground Railroad.
Yeah. He also said, my mom watching episode 3 of Kenobi. Don't forget the high ground, Obi-Wan. It got you the win last time. He's not the same person he was, unfortunately. But we will see. I'm pretty sure by the end of this series, we will see a return to form. Obviously, he has to survive this.
Because he tells people over and over again, I'm not that same guy. I've been through some stuff. I've seen some things. I had to do stuff I'm not proud of. And it's not just words. He really isn't that guy. We have to see him become it. So we need a training montage.
Yeah, I love it because in the New Hope, Obi-Wan tells Luke, I'm getting too old for this. And you can really see how old he is getting in the show.
Yeah.
Hopefully they play a version of Make a Man Out of You while he gets back in shape. That's what I need.
Shout out to Karaoke Night.
Yep.
we will have Karaoke Night 2 in London. That's gonna happen. And Beth, you have to be a part of it if you do find yourself in London. Not to like bust your spot or anything. I don't know if you're like we can't hear you.
Nope.
It might have been your AirPods. Yeah, for people going to London, we are going to continue that.
The Americans are invading.
While Beth figures that out, Pat, why don't you start us off? We're approaching the end of the show. What are your predictions for episode 4?
I really don't have any like major predictions, just because everything I thought is would happen is being done, but in a way I didn't expect it. Like I called the baby Leia. I knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't think it was gonna be so intense with the way it is, and I just want for episode 4 more parallels between the New Hope, Luke, and Obi-Wan with little Leia and Ben, just giving us more of that time for them together and that connection, because it's adding a lot more to Leia's reaction in the Death Star.
Yeah. Beth, how you doing? Still can't.
But what I would like to happen going forward is when they have the big battle, I want a version of a parallel to Empire Strikes Back, where they're doing that battle, and at the end of it, Obi-Wan just does a Luke and falls away. just to piss off Anakin a little more.
David in the chat says Leia talks to Reva and cracks her armor a bit. I don't. You know what? I that wouldn't surprise me. Reva's like, you have nowhere to run, girl. And then Leia's like, why have to be such an asshole? Then Reva's like, what is going on here? And she kind of cowers a little bit.
I would just feel it would be like Scar with baby Simba energy.
Yeah, like, pretty much. I think my largest prediction is that with Obi-Wan having to recover, I think Quinlan's gonna save Leia and be the one to smuggle her and take her off world. And when Kenobi finally recovers, he'll have to find where Quinlan has taken Leia. He might recover and think that Reva was successful, and he starts blaming himself and starts going through an episode, where he has failed again, and this is when Qui-Gon reaches out to him. But I've been so wrong this entire series.
Hey, the Qui-Gon voice, I feel like it needs to happen next episode. I've been saying it's going to happen the second to last episode, but I feel like this is the time.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon's voice is going to be what wakes Obi-Wan up from his coma.
You're not alone, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan's going to need a train, and Qui-Gon's be like, let's get down to business to defeat the Sith.
But he would,
I can see it.
He would do like a Russell Crowe, Les Mis type of singing, though. He'd be like, let's get down to business to defeat the Sith. Choco.
Either way, I just need it. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, your predictions for 4.
Yeah. This is. I feel like this is the time to get Qui-Gon's voice. We're also going to go to the planet that I can't think of. Jabeam.
Oh.
So we're gonna go to Jabeam. He's going to be recuperating, floating in some Bacta. While he's floating there, we're gonna get some flashbacks, and then he's gonna be awakened by Qui-Gon's voice, and that's gonna invigorate him to climb out and start whooping ass. And of course, once he gets out, he's gonna run into O'Shea Jackson Jr. So that's that's my prediction.
Beth, looks like we can hear you now.
Oh, I hope so. Sorry. These are my AirPods from 20-year-old AirPods. I think definitely flashbacks. I think this is definitely the flashback episode because he was straight up not having a good time physically. So definitely back to time is good for flashbacks. I'm curious to see what, if anything, they end up canonizing from Jabim, from like obviously the Republic run. So I'm very excited overall just to see what happens.
Yeah, I think right now the only canon of Jabim is from the sequel era, where they take the Wookiee slaves. That'll be very interesting. I think. Oh man, what if the person in the bacta tank is Obi-Wan in Jedi Survivor, and while he's recovering, Cal just like walks up, and then he just walks away, and that's his cameo.
We get a POV from the back of tank, and we just see the shadow with a wide poncho and a little droid we can barely make out on his shoulder, and just there for a second.
Yeah, it just looks up at him.
Man.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, does the hair match? No, but at the end of the day, does anything match in a bacta tank? Really? Because Luke didn't look like Luke in the bacta tank, that's for sure.
He was a bit chunky in there.
Any other predictions or kind of thoughts on episode 3 to 4 on Obi-Wan Kenobi? Anything you want to happen? This isn't a prediction. Anything you want to happen? Of course, mine is Quinlan Vos saves Leia, and also my prediction. But anything you guys want to see happen, regardless of likelihood?
If we're throwing likelihood and possibility out the window, I want to see like a Dumbledore Harry Potter moment where we actually see Qui-Gon in robes, and that I would.
And Liam Neeson's like, Harry Potter. I mean, Obi-Wan. Wrong franchise. Beth, anything you want to see happen?
Oh, just more flashbacks. Just give me all the flashbacks to the good times. I just want to see like Hayden and Ewan acting off of one another. Because as we know, they have obviously talked about they've done it. So I'm excited to see what they bring.
Oh yeah. I'll add on to that. I want to see a flashback to the Clone Wars, and we get to see Hayden and Ewan in their Clone Wars armor. Oh, and not as their Revenge of the Sith clothes, but as their Clone Wars armor, and just because we've only ever seen the animated versions of those, so that'd be really cool to see.
I would simply pass away if that happened. All right.
R.I.P. Beth. Choco.
Star Wars Lawyer says Saw Gerrera shows up. I was actually going to say around this time, is he Fulcrum? I think we might. I mean, there might be some room for that to happen. He's out there being a menace. We certainly know that. Again, like you said, Quinlan Vos shows up either to help track down Leia, or once they figure out, I think somehow they're going to find out that she has Leia. So I think two things are going to happen. One, Quizzy wakes up and is pissed, and basically gets Reva disavowed from the Inquisitorius, because she betrayed him or whatever. So she's kind of out on her own, but she still has Leia, and they don't know how to track her down. And then we need Quinlan Vos to track down Reva, and then we get Reva's backstory. That's what I want.
So Choco, if Reva gets disavowed, would we get a Obi-Wan Vader in the midst of fight team up three-way fight with Reva? They're all trying to fight each other, and just by circumstances, Vader and Obi-Wan help each other.
No.
I think that bridge has been burned, if you will.
Pun intended.
Also, Qui-Gon's Force Ghost shows up as a giant head in the sky, and he's like, Anakin, you have forgotten where you came from.
Ven Skywalker says, let Saw rest. There's room only for one asthmatic. Yeah.
Well, maybe we find out how he got like that.
That's true.
Vader. Maybe Vader gives him the old Mace Windu treatment and just...
Welcome to Dyad in the Forest, Dylan Stanway. Hot take: Quinlan's mention is just a throwaway in true Lucasfilm fashion. Hope I'm wrong, though. I hope you're wrong too. There's a strong likelihood it is just a name drop, but you know, as far as Star Wars does, not a lot of things are throwaways.
Dylan, don't you dare put that out in the universe.
I mean, there are some things that, of course, are like just indirect references and stuff, and that's for sure. But like, the lead character saying Quinlan's name is not. It's like it's of no consequence. You know, he shouldn't. He doesn't need to say the name. He's like, oh, many Jedi have been here. He just looks at the scrawls on the wall. But for him to say Quinlan was here, like, as part of his character growth, it seems like it would be something that needs to be paid off within the next 3 episodes. But we'll see, you know. I hope you're wrong, and I hope he shows up. That is one of my wants. But any final thoughts from you guys before we end this episode of Dyad in the Force? Beth, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh man, nothing besides this was great. It felt like a little celebration moment again. So thank you guys.
Do you have any plugs or anything you want to mention about Open Circle Fleet or anything like that? Where can people find you?
Oh man. Again, you guys can find me on TikTok, mara.j.skywalker, or new to Twitter, _J_Skywalker. And then yes, hopefully Camille and I will be doing more Open Circle Fleet stuff, like pre Kenobi, and potentially post, depending if we're emotionally okay. And you can find that at Open Circle Fleet on TikTok. Yeah, good time.
Yeah. Pat.
On TikTok, I'm 103 followers away from reaching 1,000 followers.
Nice.
And so when that happens, I will be doing a raffle of all my followers, and I will be making custom art for the winner.
Nice.
So free of charge and all of that. So if you haven't followed me, go follow me. Shameless plug. And then I'm StPat Separatist Rebel on TikTok, and then on Twitter it's StPat _of stars.
Right on.
Oh, nice.
Choco, any announcements from you? Also, I got to shout out Darren Calvin, who says we need some Hondo. Yes, that would be awesome if we can see some Hondo in Obi-Wan. It's like, Kenobi, why are you so burnt? Don't understand.
Which, spoiler, one of my thoughts for the point of view fan is just Hondo throughout the different eras.
Oh, can we just get a whole Hondo POV book?
I'm
Onaga Chronicles, Chapter 5.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for the Halcyon comic with Hondo and Lando.
Yeah. It's coming up next month, right? In July. But yeah, as far as me, you know, it's a Darth Choco everywhere. High Ground podcast, Wednesdays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We would be honored if you would join us. And yeah, appreciate everyone.
Awesome. If you guys aren't already following Beth or Pat or even Choco, I don't know where you've been, but follow them on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram. Wherever you can follow them. These guys are amazing content creators and amazing people. And I have an inkling to end this episode in Hondo's voice, but I'm not going to. It was just a small little temptation. Shout out to Podwans Podcast, who hosted the Podwans trivia tournament. And I think the final is going to be posted sometime soon in the future. Luke, let us know when that's going to be dropping.
Also, random interjection, and I apologize, and this is not something Pep and I have talked about before this, but any chance you would be up to us doing a small Obi-Wan trivia after the show ends, maybe that weekend?
Yeah,
I think that might be interesting. But we can talk more about offline. But hopefully you guys in the chat might be interested in joining something like that.
Star Wars Lawyer says, I wonder who won the tournament. You'll find out when it drops. It should be sometime next week, as Luke says. Awesome. So I don't have any other announcements for you guys other than to follow our great guests. Next week, we will be talking about episode 4. Whatever announcements Star Wars has in store for us next week. And I do believe our guests next week will be Discount Bo-Katan, Star Gorstia, and Jedi Master DePaul, everyone's unofficial sponsor. We'll be joined by them for episode 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Thank you guys so much for coming on and being on Dyad in the Force this week. You guys are amazing as always. And then a special shout out, of course, to Dyad Squadron members with this new sleek graphic that fits everyone on the first page. We have a new name, Dyad Squadron. Thank you guys so much for your support, without which we could not continue to do this week after week. And I believe that's the end. On to the next one.
For light and for life.
We are all the Republic.
And for profit!
Hey, Kenobi! May the Force be with you.